Hello, good morning, and welcome to the Good Morning Education Show. My name is Rotimi Tyler, and such a pleasure to be here once again. Thank you for being with us today. It's another time on your favorite show, and we believe that's going to be a great time together. We're going to learn together, we're going to share together so that we ultimately can grow the education show. They will not be an exception. We have fantastic conversation on the show today, and we believe that it's going to be a very good and interesting conversation as well. We always like to tell our viewers where we're streaming from. We're streaming from Lagos, Nigeria, to West Africa, to the entire world. And of course, today we're going to be having a great time together. We normally share and talk about conversations within and around the world of education. We try to ensure that we look at the news elements, we look at the headlines, conversations, and our experts and analysts are always on ground, to share with us from their thoughts and their perspective about the conversations of the day. Um, and we believe that today will not be an exception as we do that on the show today. So please stay tuned and relax yourself, and let's have a great time together. Um, we are having our show on the streets. We're streaming from Lagos to Nigeria to West Africa to the entire world. That's what we're doing today. And it's going to be an interesting time indeed. Yes. So um, let's look at those who are joining us. Let's look at those who are joining us, joining us today. We're waiting for those who are joining us today. All right. While we wait, we just go straight to the headlines of the day. Um, First headline that we will need to look at will be that this really is not too good for education. Let's hopefully be better. Good morning, Dr. Motola. How are you today?
Good morning. I'm great, and you? Can you hear me?
Dr. Motola.
Yeah, I can hear you. Good morning. Can you hear me? Good morning.
Morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Yes, I can.
Are you there?
Can you hear me? Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
Dr. Motola, are you there? Good morning.
Yes. Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Oh, okay. Good morning. Good morning. Yes. Sorry about that.
Yeah, so I was just reading one of the
Headlines. Hello.
headlines. Suspense Yeah, I was just talking about Kaduna Varsity. They're suspending all undergraduate academic activities indefinitely.
Why?
Well, it's because of insecurity.
I don't even know where to start in answering that. That is just, I don't even know where to start.
It sounds strange, right?
Absolutely.
You're not. I'm tempted to say that. I'm tempted to say you're not in our reality.
Yes. Yeah, but actually, that's one of the realities why I am not in the reality. That I made up my mind that I don't want to be in that kind of reality. When I was in primary school, because of the strike, I'm like, God, I cannot spend 7 years when I'm supposed to spend 4 years. I am not going to do that. So I'm going to find another alternative. But that is so sad. Like already they've lost almost a year with the pandemic and everything, and now they're going for another in depth. It just does not make any sense.
Yeah. So are you the
Yes, I'm still here. Yes, I am here.
Yeah, so
Can you hear me?
I was just reading out a headline about the 60th anniversary of OAU. That's Obafemi Awolowo University.
Well, congratulations to them. But my question is, what are they celebrating?
They are celebrating 60 years of contributing to the nation.
So I guess
Maybe we
past
should
glory.
hear from Faye. Faye is an ambassador of OAU. So, Faye, welcome.
Hello, good morning. Good morning, this great
Hello, Faye.
morning. And
Yeah, so
good morning. Can you hear
we are
me?
asking a question. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, what's the
So
question?
aside ancient buildings, what is OAU celebrating?
Were you
Aside
celebrating
ancient
60
buildings,
years
what
of
is OAU celebrating?
amazing turnout? Or you celebrating 60 years of amazing turnout of extraordinary men and women who are standing
Amazing
out
turnout of
in
what?
their fields, men and women who have gone ahead to do great things in their fields, who are influencing
Dr.
the
Motola.
world powerfully
Yes.
in the areas where they are. OAU is celebrating 60 years of contributing meaningfully to national and global development. OAU is celebrating 60 years of standing out, on of being outstanding as an institution of learning. Do you want me to continue? Because already they say we have
Since
started again, we have come again. So do you want me to continue,
the
or will that be enough
internet
for you for
disagrees with
now?
OAU as well.
Well, if we happen to be if we were in charge of the internet, I'm sure we won't be having all of this lag. I'm certain of that. So you probably want to move over to the OU side of life so that you
Well,
see the amazing
Jesus.
possibilities.
Uh,
we
Oh,
don't like
they're
to
not
burst the
hearing me.
bubbles
Great
of
fair.
our analysts on
There's no bubble
So
to burst. There is no bubble to burst. But don't worry, like I told those that were beefing me in my inbox, you see, there really
so
is no need to, there
largely
really is no need
the
to go
school
that
the school
route.
cannot boast of the output
Yeah. Or see what is happening to non-OAU internet.
because the school wasn't necessarily responsible for the output. But that's by
So
the way. Um, so let's head over to another news. Another news. Michael Okpara University student, Dr. Mokola. Let's hear your take on that.
But can you repeat that again?
Finn, you could also say something about this. Michael
What
environment.
I didn't hear the headline.
me too.
They are
Can
protesting a hostile learning environment. That's the students of Michael Okpara University.
what's the
Oh,
definition of hostile?
Can you
Like, is
hear
it
now?
from their professors or yes, we can hear you now. So when they say hostile, is it more from their
Yeah,
professor or from the admin?
hostile learning environment in terms of the
I see.
facility,
Yeah, I'll say
facilities, in
good
terms
for
of the
them.
facilities.
Yeah, I'll definitely say good for them. That is about time that they start like really
You get it now.
speaking up about yes, 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 I do. So I'll say good for them and I'm glad that they're standing up and speaking out about it. So good for them.
okay. So I will say to Michael Okpara University students, it's not too late to do a change of institution. There's space for you. We would consider you in OAU. But on a more serious note, I think for students, for you to get to the point where students are protesting that the learning environment is hostile, then it really must have gotten quite bad. It really must have gotten to an unbearable point. And we should not be having, there's so many things that should not be happening right now. And in this age and time that we're in, considering how far we ought to have gone as a nation and how far our education system should have developed. So a hostile learning environment does not augur well for anybody. The students don't learn properly, they're frustrated, in turn the lecturers are frustrated. The entire system is not going to move as smoothly as it should. So, and I reckon that if all students who are learning in hostile environments have to come out to protest, then we'll have almost all institutions having their students out there protesting the learning environment, their living conditions on campus. And really, these are things that we have been saying over and over and over. I guess we will not stop saying it. There's a need to look at the infrastructure. There's a need to look at the curriculum. There's a need to look at how instructions are passed and how students get hands-on practicals on what they're learning, and making the entire learning system holistically very healthy and much more productive than it currently is.
All right. Thank you for that. I agree with you and believe that it's something that should actually, be addressed. A lot of times, it seems like there are things that we take for granted when it comes to providing service. It's like hardship is even part of the curriculum, you know. But then we hope that things become better, and everybody is finding like a voice using the platform of social media. On that note, that note, we will move to the conversation of the day. And it says, "Help, I'm attracted to my student for this." Let's hear your thoughts on that, and then move to Dr. Motola afterwards. Sophie, over to you.
Okay, so this is an interesting topic. This is a topic that shows the humanity in us all. Doesn't matter if it's teacher, if it's head of school, if it's principal, whatever. It just shows the humanity in all of us and says that that there are certain times that we really need to face up to the reality of what's going on around and with us. For a teacher to cry out, I think more times than not, the situations like this are from male to female. But there are so many silent women who have attraction to men and they do nothing about it. Some go ahead to do to come out straight and tell the guy, look, I have feelings for you. Is it possible we have a relationship or a friendship and all of that? But when it comes to the teaching, to the learning environment for a teacher to be attracted to the students, first of all, that's a big line that's about to be crossed. Being attracted in itself, there's nothing wrong with that. We get attracted to people all the time. We get attracted to things all the time. So really is nothing wrong with being attracted. But what do you do with the attraction is where the question lies. And here we're talking about somebody who is much older, who should be wiser, who should be who should put the interests of the younger person at heart. Because if a teacher, male or female, is attracted to their students and they take it further to either show it or express it in any form, that the students gets the hint or maybe even gets the very clear message that, oh, my teacher is attracted to me, it could turn out in different ways. The student might reciprocate and might not reciprocate, and when they reciprocate, you begin to distract them from the main reason they are in school, which is to learn. And if they do not reciprocate, the student begins to live under the fear of, oh, is this teacher going to victimize me, or are they going to indirectly get me into trouble? And either way, it's unsettling. Either way, it's not a reality that should get should get out there. So for the teacher who is attracted to their student, I would say that be responsible in handling that attraction. Let it fade off, let it die, let it go. Find somebody else who is not in that point of their lives, still in that formative point of their lives and need the full attention on their studies, on what they are set out to do, and transfer the feelings to them. Thank you. I'll stop there.
Okay, so let's hear from Dr. Motola. I
Yes.
was almost going to ask that: is it possible for a teacher to be attracted to the students?
Yes,
Of
it's
course, Finn has already shown possible. So let's hear from
yeah,
you.
it's definitely possible. And I'm not sure if this is going to be too personal, but I like to share a story and then I'll give my comment. So I think, yes, as much as possible, I think there's like, and it depends. Like, you just said, oh, I'm attracted to my students. So I was talking about secondary schools or primary school or university. So that's like clarifying that first, not saying that it's still appropriate because of the different level, but I think having that decision will also be helpful. But for me, I think even if they're attracted, I don't think they should act on it. At least within that, so far they're still the teacher and the student is the student. So an example I was going to give was from my own personal life. So my parents actually met. My dad was a teacher and my mom was a student, but they didn't do like anything until after my dad left the school, and my mom finished and was now in the university and everything, and then they met again, and then they finally got married. So I'll say, if you're attracted to your student, it's good that you're asking for help. It's good that you're speaking out about it and you're not acting upon it. And I don't think that it's almost like the same thing that they say to doctors and patients, that a doctor should not date their patient. And they have, like, I think some month period, like maybe 18 months or a year or something, that they cannot do that until after that. Like, if so, let's say a doctor had the patient and they were attracted to each other and everything, they cannot go on a date with the person until after like a certain period of time, maybe a year or 18 years. And so I would say, if it's the age is appropriate, if it's neutral across both place, and I think that, yeah, you shouldn't act on it just because you're within that particular setting, and that role is still reserved in terms of teacher student. And also to also even check the intention. Why are you attracted to the person? Are you just the kind of person, because like it can be a dangerous thing, because surely if it's like these are younger student or learners and you're way older, then that means something is definitely, like, there's something to be addressed, and it can be a mental health issue or something. But sometimes that is not the case at the same time. And so it's just really understanding that, okay, what is going on? Is this more of a mental health issue, or is this more of a just human feeling, like things said in that regard? But irrespective of where what that is or where that is coming from, I think it's important to like ask for help and really seek a professional to say, okay, what are strategies, what can I do without having for them to feel shame or feeling like, oh my goodness, this is like a taboo or something.
So let me ask a follow-up question. What are the spoken rules and unspoken rules, almost like the commandments of scenarios like this? I want you to like share like one or two, and then Finn will also share.
So mine would be, say, one, avoid being with the person like alone in situations that is not what's the word, that other people's are not there, because the chance of being tempted or trying to act on it, like it's, so that would be one of the, I guess, unspoken rules that is like, as much as possible, like the person must become, and if it's possible, if they can switch the classes, let's say they have to teach the class every day math or something, and they have been affected by it. If it's possible for them to maybe switch it to another teacher or something, I think that will be a good idea. But in most cases, that will not be possible. And then also, like I said, it's like they shouldn't act on it, like no matter what, like, because that just puts the student in a very ridiculous situation. If they say, oh, let me go talk to the student and tell them that, by the way, like, you're so distracting, I'm so attracted to you, like it just really creates this awkwardness, and like it might deter the learning, and then the student might feel afraid that, oh my goodness, if I don't do what this teacher says, then maybe my grade is in jeopardy or something like that. And so that.
Okay, Finn, over to you.
I think the rules will depend on what level we're talking about, even though there are some rules that cut across board. Uh, Typically, in for the secondary and the primary school levels, you find that the teacher is older. Sometimes the age gap is not that much, but sometimes, like I had during my service year, the school I served in I had was a technical college, and so there were students who were even married with children as guys, like advanced in age. Some of them were older than me. So in that case, we can't really use that age thing and say, oh, the teacher is older and should know better. In that case, it's employing now the rules of common sense. I know of people who, while in the university, they got married to their lecturers. So at that, it's the level of education matters a lot. But when we're talking about children now, children that's anybody below the age of 18, then first rule is that the adult has to be sensible. The adult has to realize that, look, this is not right. Even considering the rules of the laws of the land, you cannot engage a minor in that form of relationship. So that would be the first rule. Do not even break the law by engaging a minor. They can't give consent to that, legally they can't give consent to that kind of relationship. Another rule would be that if there are two consenting adults now, let's say maybe at the university level, or like the kind of situation I had with the secondary school where I served, where there are consenting adults, the teacher needs to realize that that student still has the power of choice. The students can say, no, I'm not interested in this relationship. Even as an adult, I'm not attracted to you like that. I don't see you in that form. I see you as my teacher. I respect you as my teacher or my lecturer, whichever whatever the nomenclature is at that level. And I would really want for us to keep things that way. I'm not interested in having a relationship with you. The teacher should understand that and respect it, and should in no way now make the students to suffer for that, male or female, lecturer or teacher. They should not begin to victimize the students if they can't do it directly. They shouldn't go through other lecturers to victimize that student and make life difficult for them and say, oh, until you accede to my request, then, because really, I try to think off the top of my head and think, what kind of relationship would that even be, where you have to hold somebody under duress to say, oh, you have to have a relationship with me. That's not something that you would enjoy either ways. And it shows also that something is seriously wrong with the initiator of such a relationship. Because if somebody says no, then let them be and move on to somebody else who would say yes. So really, the rules should be, you're not taking that person's right to choice away from them. They can say yes or no. And if it's a younger person, please, by all means, just quash that attraction. Take it to somebody else, get attracted to somebody else who can reciprocate it, and who can reciprocate it lawfully and of their own volition, to say, look, yeah, I like you also, and we can take this further without compromising anything. Because if it's a lecturer, if it's a university kind of setting, you're also not compromising the fact that you're not leaking exam papers to them, you're not leaking things that they're not supposed to know to them. If it's going to be run smoothly without boundaries and lines being crossed, then uh, I wish them luck.
Thank you very much. I noticed a very big trend and evil that most people probably are not aware of. Um, it's like the the misinterpretation of the wrong is when you get caught, or when the individual in question is pregnant. So it's like the wrongness of it is if you put that person getting pregnant or in a position of kind of ailment or disease. So some people look at it as a checklist that, oh, you've done wrong when put a child at risk in terms of disease, or when you in a wrongfully and in a rough manner violate the person, or when the child is now impregnated. That's what a lot of people do. They don't even see it as a child is anyone under 18, whether you're fully developed physically or you look like someone who is totally mature. A child is a child. I mean, a child is any individual under the age of 18, according to the Constitution of Nigeria, for example. So that's it. And I got to hear, and I want to hear Dr. Motola's feedback on this. And someone was telling me some time ago that some part of the country, a parent was taking girls for this family planning stuff. And the idea was was getting pregnant as a teenager, and some sexual relationship, but she just wanted to prevent pregnancy because that will also affect her in proper marriage. And marriage is a big deal. It's an earning capacity for some parents. So, what's your take on that?
So let me get this right. You were going in and out. So someone was taking care of a child and they got pregnant and they're now saying that they must get married. Is that
No, no,
correct?
no, 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 no.
Okay.
No. She's taking a child for family planning. Like, when a child is already a teenager,
Mm-hmm.
instruction is now not that don't. The issue is that she's not denying the fact that the child might be sleeping around, but she doesn't want the child to be foolish with that act and get pregnant. So she wanted the child to have family planning.
Mm-hmm.
Do you
And so
understand?
you're
Like
not,
get control.
I see. Okay, 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 okay. Well, I guess
It's a
for
common trend now. That's what's happening. A lot of people are going for birth control. Not that they've been.
yeah, that's interesting, honestly, to me. But I think I'm not surprised. Like you said, like the world is becoming more modern, and I think sex education in school or even at home is quite terrible in the first place. Now that's just going to be the truth, and so maybe this is a good thing. I really cannot say. Time will tell. In terms of this trend that is coming up, in terms of okay, saying you know what, we know that this is bound to happen. Let's just make sure that you are protected and covered in terms of ensuring that you don't get pregnant if you do this in that regard. And so for me, I think I have mixed feeling about it. I wish there was still that age where there was the innocency of, at least for me when I was growing up, and everything was just so like sacred and all of that. But like you said, the world is like you can go and anyone can have access to internet now and just see all kind of crazy stuff in that regard. So for me, I'll say that I have mixed feeling about it. On one side, I think it might be good based on where those parents and those families or communities are coming from, and at the other hand, I just wonder about that innocence that is being lost in the process as well.
I'm sure you want to say something.
Okay, so I won't say it's a new trend. I won't say it's just getting common. As far back as when I was in the secondary school, it was happening. Parents taking their children, their daughters especially, for to the family planning clinic and loading them up with condoms. I mean, having condoms wasn't something strange when I was in. I think I saw my first condom in GSS two. Was when I saw my first condom, or maybe yeah, I think GSS two, and by the time I was in GSS three, it was commonplace. It wasn't. We knew what it was. Just citing one, you knew what it was. And some of the students, well, some got it from sneaking into their parents' stash. Some got it because their parents had loaded them with those things and pills and said, "Oh, even look, um, I'm not going to say you shouldn't experiment with sex, but just take care of yourself." And I think largely it talks about the failure of parenting. It talks about failure of parenting. If children are well equipped with sex education and are taught what exactly it is, demystify sex for them, then you enable them and you empower them to be able to make the right decisions. When either it's coming from an older person, whether it's coming from a classmate or a younger person, they're able to make the right decisions. One of the things that we don't do and is being able to freely talk to our children about sex. It's in fact to even say the word sex, it's like it's like taboo, and these are the things that now eventually sets the children up for to fall victim and to fall prey. I know of someone who every week the mom tested her for pregnancy every week while she was a teenager. that messed up with that person really badly. It messed up with her mind. It messed up with her self-esteem, because it was like every week it was a reminder of, look, my mother doesn't trust me to make the right decision. My mother feels I'm sleeping around. My mother, it messed up a lot with that person. And she didn't have a very good and proper 10 years. So for parents to think that, oh, the way out is that's the easy way out. Let's just go do family planning. Hello, pregnancy may be the least of the worst things that can happen. If the child doesn't contract HIV, if the child doesn't contract other STIs and STDs, then praise be. But if it's even sometimes I think pregnancy is even the lesser of the evils. The worst is that the child has to drop out of school for some time to have the baby, and wean the child and later return to school. All things being equal, if there's no maternal mortality involved. But where the child now contracts a disease or an infection that either kills them very fast or they have to live with for the rest of their lives, that's even worse than the pregnancy that they're trying to keep at bay. And the fact that it is happening, but we want to deny it until there is a visible evidence, it says a lot about our hypocrisy as a people, our hypocrisy as parents. Why should you even be encouraging your underage child to be having sex? Why? It's not, we can't stop them, but we can arm them with the right information. This is something that you will still do for the rest of your life as much as you want to, but just get the proper footing first. Make sure you are at that place where you are not at the mercy of somebody else and they're now having to use sex as a tool to hold them down or to survive. That should be the lookout of every parent, not now playing the ostrich and burying their head in the sand and say, oh, as long as she doesn't get pregnant. And what happens to the boys? Are we also saying that as long as the boys don't get somebody pregnant, or it doesn't matter, he can get somebody pregnant and be irresponsible and move on with his life? I think parents need to sit up more and uh, be more responsible when it comes to these things, because there are some children who will be propositioned by adults and they cannot tell their parents about it. They can't say, oh, my teacher is inappropriately touching me or inappropriately looking at me or is leering at me, or, those kind of things. We have to be able to open up the channels of communication for these things to be said, and not just carry the child and push them off to the clinic and say, oh, okay, this child is on, should be. And there are even laws about the family planning thing. So except you're taking the child there and lying about their age, it's not right to take an underage to the family planning clinic and say, oh, we just want to place her on pills or on. No, now those things also have a way of sometimes they interfere with the cycle of the woman. So why mess up her system before she's even ready to start off to fully launch into that area of adulthood? Let's just be responsible, get them armed, let them know what it is. By the time I got into the university, boys were not a novelty to me. Sex was not a novelty to me. I had not tried it. But I didn't even want to try it at that point because it was too clear. Oh, this is what this is. This is what that is. And I made the decision until I am ready. Then this is not something I want to toy with. This is not something I want to dabble into or tamper with. It didn't make me feel like any less of, to my colleagues or to my friends or start feeling insecure. It didn't matter to me. Let them discuss whatever they want to discuss. Oh, wow, fine, interesting, and then move on. We need to empower our children that way to make sure they are, whether we are there or not, they're able to make those decisions and to be able to say, no, I'm not doing this, and be able to stand their ground on that no.
Thank you very much. This I want to direct this question to Dr. Motola, and that's the concept of everybody's hearing about this new uh, gender rule, and a lot of things are happening body, who are old and they're saying that they are teenager trapped in an old person's body, and a teenager is saying that is an old person trapped in a teenager's body. You know, so the issue of underage or not underage in the world of humanism, where everything seems like everyone is right, everyone is having his own opinion. Can it can we see it as a mental deficiency, or where maybe some people just have this flair to say that they feel that they're like students and seems to facilitate the attraction to their students, especially students in high school. So a teacher or lecturer can say that, what, guess what? I'm 40, I'm 50 years old, but I feel like I'm a 16-year-old trapped in a 40-year-old body. Dr. Motala, over to you.
I'll say I think that is just like BS excuse, and it is still not appropriate or right for them to act on it just because they feel that way. And if they do, then they need therapy, counseling, or yes, they should seek a professional to really explore that and really unpack that for them in that regard. But that should not be the excuse or the reason why they should now either willingly or unwillingly like try to make the student, especially like you said, those in high school, to become so uncomfortable or make them go act on it in my regard. But I'm sure maybe their feelings is legit and it's really, really real to them. But at the same time, I think it should not be the excuse or the reason why they should act on it.
All right, thank you so much. So at this junction, I think that we would move over to our new segments. Viewers, as you join us, we're excited to announce a new feature on the Good Morning Education Show, and it's called the Grant of the Day segment, Education Grant segment. I would like us to give Dr. Motola that chance to speak to us about the education grant for today. We will be having this every day, so make sure that you take advantage of this opportunity. And then when she's done, then we'll come back to do the wrap up on the topic of.
Okay, thank you. So the purpose is that the truth is that sometimes, the government cannot invest all the money needed into the education system that we need, whether inside of the schools or even outside, like after school centers and things like that. But there are a lot of funders all over the world who has funding that are set aside to help either teachers or students or parents or individuals who are interested in making change happen in the education system. And so these grants will range from either you can apply as an individual, or you can apply as a for-profit business, or you can apply as a NGO or non-profit organization. So for today's grant, we have the U.S. Department of State on the Secretary for Diplomacy and Public Affairs. The deadline for this grant is July 30th, 2021. And I'm sure, yeah, the website is being shared right now. And you have the opportunity to get between $5,000 to $50,000. So the minimum you can ask for is 5,000, and the maximum you can ask for is 50,000 for these grants as well. So what kind of work can you do with this? So if you're interested in STEM education, civil engagement and education, youth development and leadership, tutoring and mentoring, teacher development and training, cross-cultural understanding and exchange between Nigeria and the US, community/public safety, English as a second language, ESL, education, and civic leadership development. So these would be areas or aspects that they will be looking for grant proposals for. And so you can explore so many of these as well. So who can apply? So you can either apply as a nonprofit or as an individual as well. And what can you use the funding for? You can use it for a project or program that is focused on education or educational outreach. Also, you can use it for training and capacity building, and sometimes you can use it for conference around education as well. And the location of project, so this is specific to Nigeria, and so you have to carry out the project within Nigeria. And so the goal is that they call it the small grant program, and it's an annual thing. It happens every year. The time changes, but every single year they have this opportunity for people. And I know most people may not know about this, especially that individuals can apply for it as well. And so the goal is to really be able to create programs or projects that will definitely bring highlight those things that we talked about in terms of the field of work that you can use it for. And so please definitely take advantage of it. You have the website, go research it yourself. If you have ideas or project that has been bubbling up in your mind and you're not you've been looking for, okay, how will I get the funding, what does this look like, well, this might be an opportunity for you. And like Courage Coach said, every day we'll have opportunities for you that you can definitely apply for. Thank you. And then I'll also say, don't wait until it's 1 week before the deadline before you start your application. Like, start looking at it right now, start reviewing it, start looking at, okay, what else do they need? What's the number of pages I need to submit? And start working on getting your draft together or researching as well. So don't wait until it's like, oh, 5 days or a week before. So don't procrastinate on it. You still have a lot of time to get this in and hopefully get something. And usually they'll let you know by August, September. So this is a really great, like, fast, like, feedback loop that, okay, yes, you get the grant, yes, you didn't get the grant. Sometimes they'll give you feedback, sometimes they'll not. But this is a really great opportunity.
When things are difficult, things are not working, here's an $1,000 is an opportunity to leverage and give your project, your idea, your plan a boost. And let's all take advantage of that. This is one of many on the Good Money Education Show. And of course, uh, we will be giving you from every day on the show, all things being equal, we'll be giving you insight into grant opportunities, how to position yourself for grants, and this is going to be valuable to someone out there. So say something, share the word, share the videos, share, like our videos, subscribe, and we'll also take that as well. All right. So thank you so much, Dr. Motola, for that beautiful assessment on the grants for the day, education grants for the day. Um, the website that you can leverage to get more information is this, right? So I don't know if he wants to say something.
Okay, so just in rounding off, I would say that we need to work together to protect our children, to protect our students, either as parents or as educators at whatever level. Let's be responsible. Let's take charge of our our feelings, of our emotions, and be those people who really should be models, who really should be helping to make the next generation better and not taking advantage of them or setting them up for a life of misery as they grow. Thank you.
So thank you. I'm also just to ask Fee, before I move over to Dr. Motola to hear our closing remarks. I want to find out from you, Fee. Do you recommend that pastoral care be extended to teachers, and also possibility of assessment? Is there a way people can assess themselves? There are some tendencies, that they need to put in check, like Dr. Wakola said some might need to seek therapy or so. What's your take on that?
Well, I won't say that pastoral care should be imposed or made compulsory for teachers. I would just say that schools should make a provision for teachers to be able to, sometimes it gets overwhelming, especially at the secondary and primary levels. It gets very overwhelming being a teacher, and you're frustrated, you don't know who to talk to, you don't know what to do. So if schools have a system whereby their teachers have a way to onboarding or to just let off those things, and if they really want to have access to a therapist or a counselor, then it would be a good idea for schools to have that. And the moment you begin to see that maybe a teacher's outlook, the way what their ideas are beginning to sound very, very different and very strange and all of that, then the school should step in before it becomes something that you have to start looking for damage control, or have to do damage control on. So we should pay not just pay attention to the students, we should also pay attention to the teachers, because life hits us all very differently. If something happens and or they just come across one very strange idea, opinion, and then they begin to say, "Oh, look, this and things have gone really, really haywire when it comes to this gender apportioning and all of that, and sex. What do they call that thing now? Whatever it's called. A lot of things are going on. So schools really need to pay attention to their teachers. Not really, really, but give them some breathing space and let them also be able to exhale and be able to let off steam from time to time.
All right, thank you very much. Dr. Motola, over to you. Closing remarks.
Yes. So I agree with all that Finia said, and my addition would be that also like I think it will be good if they have the like we're saying like training around this, what is appropriate and what is not. Because think about it, I don't think actually at least if you're looking at the public school setting like universities or what do you call it, or secondary school teachers and the administrators, they don't take the time to do retreat workshop like professional development in terms of this area. So I think that will be something that should be looked into, and it doesn't have to be every month or something, but maybe every semester right before the school starts, bring everybody together, remind them of, okay, this is the rule, this is our standard, this is our value. And then if you need help, like, and like they said, if they need assistance or help or they're struggling, have that opportunity for them to say, you know what, there might be professionals that can help you or recommend dating specific organizations for them to seek personally for themselves as well. But I think like really the schools defining what they stand for, what is acceptable, should now be that should be very important. And because usually the problem is after the fact, that's when people now start coming up with statements and saying, well, we didn't approve this, we didn't, but they don't, which was not clearly stated in the beginning, even though everybody expects you to know that, oh, this should not be what you should do. And so my own input on like, yeah, my final thought would be, can we institute like create trainings or workshop around this and make it something that should be talked about in a way that is not like bad or like terrible or like but to see it really objectively as it can, because sometimes it can even be the opposite way, where is the student that is attracted to the teacher and then they will do everything they can to make to get the attention of the teacher and try to compromise the teacher. So it can be both ways. And but I know today we're just talking about the teacher to the student one. So it's I think that's where training and workshops like focusing on this kind of things and issues that may arise in this area will really be helpful for those teachers and prepare them for what is to come.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. It's been a great one today. As usual, it's always a great one on the Good Morning Education Show. And that's how we would like to end the show today. Um, we try to make sure that we touch on all manner of subject matter so that we can get the best. And of course, I'm sure as we learn and share together, the goal is so we can grow together. So, on that note, we are bringing the curtains down on the show today. And Finn is excited to wave to our fans from Lagos to Ibadan to OAU and beyond Nigeria and to Africa. And so, Dr. Motala and
Mhm.
Fee and myself, we're going to say the usual goodbyes on the show at the count of two. One, two.
It's
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 always
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 a great
a great
great
morning
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 on the Good
on the
Morning
Good
on the
Morning
Good Morning
Education
Education
Show.
Show.
Education. Bye bye, Fee. Wave for
Everything.
them. Wave, wave.
Raise a
60th
fair.
anniversary wave.
Mm-hmm.
Great
Yes,
fire.
so
Bye bye.
Have a good day.